All right, so we're stepping into the world of the third man.
Hmm.
You know the characters, you know the basic plot, but we're going deeper this time. Think of it as a behind-the-scenes look at how this classic film got made.
Yeah. The Third Man is more than just a movie. It really is like a time capsule,
Yeah.
taking us back to post-war Vienna. And it's packed with history and intrigue. And the filmmaking choices are just fascinating.
We've got a whole stack of sources here to help break it all down. Film reviews, deep dives, even some stuff from Wikipedia to make sure we don't get lost down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But I have to ask you about Vienna itself. The setting is almost like a character in the film.
Yeah, it's true. And that was definitely intentional. Post-war Vienna was such a complex place, bombed out buildings, streets divided between the Allied powers, and this whole black market going on just beneath the surface. Perfect for film noir, don't you think?
Film noir. For those of us who aren't film experts, what does that even mean?
A good point. So film noir, it's a genre that became really popular after World War II. It's all about stark lighting, shadowy figures, morally ambiguous characters, and The Third Man just nails it.
And they actually filmed in Vienna, right?
They did. They filmed on location, and they used the city's scars, the rubble, the ruins, even the sewer system. It all adds to this sense of unease, like the world is kind of off balance.
And speaking of creating a mood, we have to talk about that zither score. It's haunting, distinctive.
It's amazing because it almost didn't happen. One of my favorite stories about this film is how the director, Carol Reed, stumbled upon Anton Karas, who played the zither, just by chance in a Vienna beer garden.
Wait, seriously, it was just pure luck.
Pure chance. Reed was captivated by Karas's playing. He knew right away that was the sound he wanted.
Talk about a lucky break. And it's not just the music and the setting. The Third Man has this pedigree of talent behind it. Graham Greene, who wrote the screenplay, he had a background in espionage.
He did. And it really shows in his writing. He actually based some of the plot on his own experiences, blurs the lines between fact and fiction, pulls you deeper into the story.
That's wild. And then there's Orson Welles. His portrayal of Harry Lime is just iconic. That scene on the Ferris wheel still gives me chills.
Welles is brilliant, of course. He brings this magnetic charm to Lime, even when he's being absolutely ruthless. But here's something most people don't know. Some of his best lines in the film, like that chilling cuckoo clock speech, all ad-libbed.
You kidding me? That whole speech, just Welles making it up as he went along?
Yep, all Welles. It shows you how good of an actor he was to come up with something so perfect.
Yeah.
Right there on the spot. It's those little details that make this film so great.
It really does elevate the whole thing. You've got the script, the actors, but then it's those moments of inspiration that really make it special.
Absolutely. And it's not just the acting. It's the whole look of the film, the way it's shot, the lighting. It all comes together to create this unsettling atmosphere.
You're right. That chase scene that goes through the sewers, the camera angles make you feel off balance just watching it.
Yeah, those are called Dutch angles, where the camera's tilted like that.
Yeah.
It's a really classic film noir thing. It's supposed to make you feel a little uneasy, like something's not quite right, which really fits with the whole moral ambiguity of the film.
Oh, I see. I never knew that was an actual technique, but it makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
And speaking of moral struggles, we've got to talk about Harry Lime. He's such a complex character.
Oh, he really is. On the one hand, he's charming and funny. He seems like a decent guy at first. But then you find out he's involved in this awful thing.
Right. And that's what's so great about Graham Greene's writing. He doesn't make it easy for you. Is Harry Lime pure evil? Or is there some good in him somewhere? The film makes you think. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah, that's true. And how does Holly Martins fit into all of this? I mean, he's our protagonist. But he always seems so lost in Vienna.
I think Holly represents that clash between idealism and reality. You know, he comes to Vienna with these ideas about right and wrong, but then he's confronted with something much more complicated.
It's really interesting that you mentioned different versions of the film. It shows how much goes into tailoring a story for different audiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that even something like a film can be interpreted and even manipulated in different ways.
Huh.
But going back to the ending for a second, the way Holly's left there, watching Anna walk away, it's not exactly a typical Hollywood ending.
Definitely not. The first time I saw it, I remember feeling so unsettled. Like, what happens next? Do they ever find any happiness?
Yeah, a lot of people felt the same way. Even Graham Greene himself. He wanted a more optimistic ending. But Carol Reed, the director, he fought to keep it as it was. He thought a happy ending would undermine the whole point of the film.
That makes sense. It would be kind of jarring, I think. Like, suddenly everything's tied up neatly. So the ambiguity is really a strength.
Exactly. It sticks with you, gets people talking. And that's the mark of a truly great film.
You know, it's funny you should say that. I was actually going to ask you about the film's lasting impact. I mean, this movie's over 70 years old, and people are still talking about it, analyzing it, visiting the locations. Why do you think The Third Man continues to resonate with people?
That's a great question. I think part of it is just how timeless the film is. The themes it explores, friendship, betrayal, trying to be a good person in a world that isn't black and white, those are things everyone can relate to.
That's true. Plus, there's that whole post-war atmosphere, that sense of uncertainty. It feels strangely familiar even now.
Totally. The world was on the brink of something new. And The Third Man captures that feeling perfectly. It's both a product of its time and completely timeless. And we can't forget just how powerful film is as an art form. The way it combines visuals and music and storytelling. It creates this experience that really stays with you.
Absolutely. The Third Man isn't just something you watch, it gets under your skin.
Exactly. And it makes you want to talk about it, to share that experience with others. It's like a shared secret, something that connects people across generations.
I love that. We all watched the same film, but we experience it in our own way, and then we come together and talk about it. But beyond the themes and the mood, The Third Man is just incredibly well made.
Oh, absolutely. Every detail, from the casting to the music, those incredible shots of Vienna at night, it all comes together to create this feeling like you're watching something really special.
Like you said earlier, a perfect storm of creativity. And it's funny you should mention the casting, because the sources say there was some debate about who should play Harry Lime.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, can you picture anyone else as Harry Long other than Orson Welles?
I can't. It's like he was born to play that role.
Right. But get this. David O. Selznick, who was the American producer on the film, he originally wanted Noel Coward for the part.
Noel Coward? Really? He's like the ultimate English gentleman.
I know. It makes you wonder how different the film would have been.
Totally. It makes you think about all the other creative choices that went into making this movie.
And that's what makes The Third Man so fascinating to dissect. Every little detail adds another layer.
It really is like peeling back the layers of an onion, but instead of making you cry, you get all these amazing insights.
Exactly. And one of the details I find really interesting is how they use those tilted camera angles all the time, the Dutch angles.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned those earlier, and I have to say, I've been noticing them more and more as we talk. They really add to that uneasy feeling.
They do. Like the world is tilted. Just like the morality of the story. It's subtle, but it has such a powerful effect.
It's like those subliminal messages they used to put in movies. You don't realize they're there, but they still affect you somehow.
Exactly. It just goes to show you how strong visual storytelling can be. And speaking of powerful storytelling, we have to mention that cuckoo clock speech by Harry Lime.
Oh, man. Chilling. The way he compares human life to dots on an ant farm, it's terrifying, but also kind of profound.
It really is. And the best part, that whole speech was improvised by Orson Welles.
Are you serious? I had no idea. It's so well written, I never would have guessed it wasn't in the original script.
It's amazing. He was so good. He could just channel the character like that and come up with those incredible moments of brilliance.
Just incredible.
It's like he tapped into something really dark and really profound in that moment. And that's why The Third Man is such a masterpiece. It works on so many levels. It's a thriller. It's visually stunning. It makes you think about morality and what it means to be human. It stays with you long after it's over.
It really does. It makes you question everything. Your own sense of right and wrong, the nature of friendship, the choices we make in a world that's full of gray areas.
Exactly. It's a film that challenges you, makes you think, and I think ultimately it helps you understand yourself a little better and the world we live in.
I love that. So to anyone listening, if you're looking for a film that will stay with you, a film that will make you think, The Third Man is it. It's a journey into post-war Vienna and into the darkest parts of ourselves.
It's a truly unique cinematic experience. So do yourself a favor. Dim the lights, grab some popcorn, get ready to be blown away by The Third Man.
And then who knows? You might just find yourself booking a trip to Vienna to walk those same streets.
Just keep an eye out for any mysterious figures and listen closely for that haunting zither music.